What's up, collectors? P-Rock's in the back again for another review, and today we're taking a look at his 6th scale figure, and this is going to be the Star Wars Moff Gideon from the Mandalorian series, and everybody knows this is Gus. Gus from Breaking Bad, one of the badass villains and characters in TV show history, and he made a cameo into the Star Wars lore, so I'm super happy to have him as a figure form because this is Theo. Like Nate says, this is Theo. So happy to have this guy. I know it's a little late than before, but you know, like I said, with my reviews, I don't try to aim for being the first person out. I just try to basically get the figures out for the reviews as I open the figures for the first time and get them ready for my display. So next up in line is gonna be Gus. Oh, I'm sorry, not Gus. I said the wrong person. Saul, but it's basically Moff Gideon, and he was cool. He had the Darksaber in the show. Yeah, I was kind of upset with, the way he went out and everything, but more likely he will be back. But this is a cool-ass character, one of the most popular actors, and one of the best actors when it comes to TV shows, movies, and video games, because he's in those Far Cry games, and he did an awesome job there. So anyways, let's get this review started, people. Dale.
Tequila.
Okay, so let's take a look at the box before we get the figure out the box. So here you got a nice picture of the actual figure of Moff Gideon right here. And I do see so far, it doesn't like just gonna be pleather in the arm, which is a good thing because it's not gonna be like the Vader suit. So anyways, get a nice picture of the figure right there too. Star Wars, Moff Gideon. Star Wars logo on the bottom. Moff Gideon, Hot Toys logo there. And then in the back, we have all the legal information, whoever was involved in this figure, and all the other stuff down there. Another picture of Moff Gideon right there. And then in the bottom, another Star Wars logo. All right, let's go ahead and get this cool bad guy out the box. All right, so once you get the figure out the box, you greet it with a nice little slip cover. Now that slip cover, you have the figure right here with the Darksaber. Little iconic pose right there with the cape behind him. Then you take that slip cover off. And then you agree with the clamshell right here on the top. Freaking clamshells. This should be foam Hot Toys. We should get some foam here, boys. Alright, so there you go. You have the figure right there. Everything that comes in the package. And below the figure, on the bottom of the clamshell, you have the cape. The cape's there. So basically, take a quick look at Moff Gideon. And all black. My boy is free. All right, so let's go ahead and get his plastic and everything off him so you can take a close look at in fine detail with everything he comes with in the package. And there we have Moff Gideon laid out with all the accessories. Not too much, but it is what it is, you know. He's the type of character. Didn't have too many things, so this kind of matches the character perfectly. Wish it was a little bit more accessories for, for the price and everything, but for the price I got him, I think it was like maybe what, $220 or $230, something like that. I know retail is like $250, so it's more of the character than it is the accessories. So of course, let's take a good look at Moff first. As you can see, let me bring my brightness a little bit higher so we can get a better look at some of these darker details. There we go. All right, so I do gotta take the turtleneck off. I didn't take that off yet, and I didn't take off the plastic here at the joints, or at the pegs, I'm sorry. I'll do that basically when I get the final poses going out, or size comparison, before the size comparison. But I do like the way this suit feels on the character, on the actual figure. It doesn't feel like a cheap fabric, and it doesn't feel like something too premium, but it does feel like just about right. The plastic here is a little softer, a little kind of like a brittle type plastic. It is glossy and shiny. That's nice. A little plain here, the buttons here and everything like that, but that's all right. But of course, let's always take a look at the sculpt first. And there goes my boy. There goes. I know I'm gonna keep saying this through the whole review, man, but this is Gus, man. This is my Gus. Look at that hair. Mira eso. Look at that hair. Mira ese pelo. Got the slick back going. And then you can see the wrinkles on the face, on the cheeks. You can actually even see like the dimples and the indentations on the face. So this is a beautiful sculpt. You can see the eyes are a little bit glossy looking. Kind of realistic. You see the little mustache. The mustache work going on there. You see the wrinkles. Every little detail on his face. They did an awesome job with this head sculpt. Looks just like him. The chin, the clean cut, the hair combed back. My freaking boy, Gus, Moff Gideon. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the rest of the suit. As you can see, glossy here. Now, this portion has 2 portions of glossy. Like the shoulder pads are a little more glossier than this chest piece right here. And then the same thing right here in the bottom portion right here. A little more gloss. A little plain in the buttons, but it looks nice. Good thing is I don't need gloves completely. I can just try to avoid touching the glossy parts. This is like a, I want to say fabric or hard plastic. And then you have the pleather for his holster, of course. And then this is more of a hard plastic right here at the gloves. You get the nice gloves there. Pleather a little bit right here in the leg area and the inside portions. And of course on the boots. No split cut boot, all single. So this is definitely going to be treated along with some portions of the suit. Get the nice gloves here. Nice detail on the gloves. Nice patterns on the long part of the gloves. And then the back portion, you do have the cape. Nice cape. Wired. It does have a wire going from the outer portion all the way to here. Not in the inside. But definitely is wired. And it flows pretty good. Has a good quality feel to it. Not sure how it's on there. Is that stitched on there? I'm trying to see. So you may have to be careful in the future is messing with this cape, since it looks like it might be stitched on there. Just be careful with that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the articulation on Moff Gideon. All right, so the head can move sideways, do a full 360. He can look decent amount up, pretty far down. So he's looking at Grogu, looks very low. Can go sideways. Arms, let's try the arms. Let's see if the shoulder pads. All right, so the good thing is those shoulder pads do not hinder the articulation. They're on the suit, but they don't hinder anything. Let's see if you have single or double. Double jointed elbows, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. And then is there pivot? Let's see. There is twist at the bicep. Hey, twist at the bicep. To get there, so let's go ahead and get Moff with the T-pose, and then let's see how far he can go up with his pose. So Moff can do the T-pose, he can dab with it. People even say that nowadays, is that still a thing? Got the biceps there, so that's very good articulation at the arms. And what I'm enjoying so far is the fact that this is the cloth, so I can have him posed up and not have any damage to this suit. This is why I'm telling you guys, this is why I jumped into Star Wars first when it came to Hot Toys, because most of their characters have cloth suits, and that's a plus for me as a poser. Well, I like to pose my figures when I have them displayed, so not a big fan of the museum pose. You guys know that already. All right, so we get that. We get twist at the wrist. You get, oh, is that a ratchet? Sounds like a ratchet a little bit. Yeah, you get some kind of ratchet at the wrist when you try to bend it, so that's good. All right, so let's see the waist articulation. I want to try not to touch that glossy part. So he does have a little bit twist at the waist, at the lower waist. Yep, so he does have some waist articulation. Let's see, can he go back? He has some back arching. He can go forward, decent amount with that chest piece on there. So it's not bad, not bad. And then the legs, so this right here does open up. Oh, look, that has wired. Does this have wire? Well, no, it's not really wired. I thought it was wired. It's just a more material. It feels like a hard wire, but it's not. It's not wired. All right, so the pants, you have to probably, all right, so these are the pants that are gonna, because they're a little bit lower, they are gonna give some resistance on the articulation right here at the crotch area. You can see it where it's kind of pulling the stitches already. So, and since he has these higher boots, I'm not sure if he can adjust the legs up more. So yeah, he can't do the split because of the pants. It feels like he can do it underneath with the body, but just the clothing, the pants, there's a lot of tension right there, so I don't want to rip that. So a little bit hinder articulation at the waist down. And also because of the pants, let's see if I can bring this leg up and it gives you more. Yeah, so even with the pants, if you see right here, it's pulling pressure on the butt. Can't get the legs too far up. You do get, seems like double jointed knees, but you want to be careful bending those knees because of this right here. That pleather right there could start damaging over time. So as you bend it, let's see. You can see it bunching up there as you're bending it. So that could be issues in the future. So kind of a sucky place to have that pleather in the inside. Kind of better off with just no pleather, so you can bend those knees with no problem. All right, so let's see if there's a twist. Is there a twist? There's twist at the thigh. Always got the thigh action. Twist at the thighs right there. All right, so let's see the ankles. Is there a twist at the shin? It's hard to tell with the boots, but you get twist at the ankle. The feet can go pretty far up and decent amount far down, and then you do got pivot at the ankles. Just be careful, like I said too, same thing with the suit in here. You want to be careful with a lot of the bunching on that pleather. Could cause some creases and maybe tears in the future. So when you get them posed up, you kind of want to readjust this a little bit to kind of make sure, you know, there's not many creases there. All right, and then, so yeah, so you can't really do the split because of the pants. And you can't really put his legs far up. That's probably as far, oh yeah, you could get a little bit further with this leg. So get his leg pretty far up. No Hogan boot for Moff Gideon here. And then you get good bend at the knee, like I said. All right, so it looks good right there. Articulation so far. Definitely good articulation on the top with the arms and the suit, but limited on the bottom. All right, so there we go. And like I said, it does have a bendy wire at the cape right here at the ends, going from down here all the way to the outside part of the cape. All right, so let's go look at the accessories. And of course, let's look at the Darksaber. And here we go. So this actually looks good. In person, it looks better in person than I did from the pictures. This is more of like a hard, somewhat like a plastic piece. So I could see this breaking if it falls off of a display, if you don't have it in a DTOF or module cases or some kind of acrylic. But I could see this breaking if it falls, because as you can see, it can bend pretty easy. But it has a nice, you know, shine to it. So it looks pretty good. Wish it looked a little bit better, but I wish it was a little bit harder plastic. And then you get the hilt right here without the saber on there. And then you actually get an action pose type Darksaber where he's kind of swinging it. And same thing right here. This is like a glossy, soft, like it's hard, but it bends easy, plastic, so it could break very easily. I can see this breaking. So just be careful with that. I rarely use these for my Star Wars figures. It does look cool, but I think it's more of if it's lit up. These waving one action ones would look better, but right now I'm just like a big fan. Ah, está caliente. So there we get light Darksabers. Get the base, Moff Gideon. Still got the plastic on there, didn't take the plastic off. Of course, you get the crotch grabber. And then you get hands. You get one closed fist hand. And then two, I guess these are the Darksaber wielding hands. And then last but not least, one for his pistol. So you get one right there. Then while we're doing that, let's take a quick look at the pistol. So here's Moff Gideon's pistol. I'm trying to zoom in so you guys can get a good look at this. See the detail on there. So it does have some good wear in it. It does have like that silver chromish type tip. That looks very weathered. It is plastic, it's just the way they painted it. And you can see some kind of weathering, you know, paint's chipped and stuff all throughout the pistol. The handgun, whatever you want to call it. What would be cool if this clip came out? I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. So, yep. And then there you go. So then basically it's simple. The hands are pretty soft and malleable, so you can easily slide the pistol in there. Well, maybe not too easy, but yep, slide the pistols in there. And eventually you basically get that trigger finger into the trigger. Definitely have that for one of my final poses. Want to kind of show how I should just put this in right now. Kind of want to show you guys how everything looks when, see, there you go. So that trigger finger goes into the trigger perfectly. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. And then, of course, you get the last extra pegs, wrist pegs. And that's what you get. All right, so let's go get the final thoughts. I'm sorry, let's get them ready for a size comparison. It's been a while, guys. Size comparison. There we have Moff Gideon, standard default pose, ready for a size comparison. And let's go ahead and bring in another Hot Toys figure. And this is going to be the Hot Toys Jango Fett. And let's bring in a different figure. This is going to be a 3-0 figure, and this is the 3-0 Snake Eyes. So as you can see, Snake Eyes stands the tallest of the three, but they all still look good to me. And of course, let's bring in another Hot Toys figure because this is the person he was going after the whole time. And this is going to be the Hot Toys Grogu. Let's put Grogu right in front of Moff Gideon right there. Yep, there we go. And last but not least, I want to bring my boy in. This is my Godzilla statue. And there we go. So we got Godzilla with the shades on, Moff Gideon, Jango Fett, Grogu, and Snake Eyes. So now you can see if you have any of these other figures in your collection, you can compare with the Moff Gideon and see how Moff Gideon will fit in your collection if you pick this figure up. Okay, let's go ahead and do the final thoughts and final poses. One of these final poses, I wanted to get a pose with Moff Gideon holding the pistol, and this is it basically right here. I wanted to kind of show how basically perfect, almost perfect, that hand grip is basically on that pistol with the trigger figure and everything. Now, one thing that does bother me, I can see with the figure already, as you can see the arm that's holding Grogu. When you bend that wrist a little too much, the glove portion, like the gauntlet portion of the gloves, doesn't really cover that wrist peg too much. So you do see the wrist peg revealed when you bend the arms a certain way. When I first messed with the figure, that little cloth piece basically covered that very good. And I probably think that if they improved upon that Darth Maul pleather piece that you put around the wrist pegs, if they improved on that and not have the hand basically constantly falling off when you move that wrist peg, I think this character will benefit from that because you can actually hide that peg a little bit better at the wrist with those covers. But it's pretty good so far, what I see so far. Not a big, hindrance on the actual articulation, the way the figure looks, but just something that I do see. But I do love the way he holds the gun. I do like that he can hold Grogu pretty good. And this is more of a pose, basically, he was always chasing Grogu. So kind of have him back down in the corner or something, holding Grogu, aiming the gun at Mando or maybe even Luke or somebody. This is a pose I want to get, and I want to actually test out those ankle joints also too to see if he holds the peg without the split cut boots, if he can hold the pose without him lean over, and he did. So this is a good accomplishment for a pose that I did want to test out. So in one of these final poses, I did want to get at least one with the Darksaber being in action mode with that effect right there. And I like the way this came out. I basically have Moff Gideon swiping away the whistling birds of Mando with the Darksaber, which I'm pretty sure you didn't see in the show, but he could accomplish with that Darksaber because it's the closest thing to a lightsaber. It could cut to almost anything. So the whistling birds can be destroyed with the Darksaber. I do like the fact that that cape is easy to pose. As you can see here, I was able to get like a smooth, like a swiping type flow on that cape. And I love the way the cape feels, and the wires are strong enough to get something like this and not have an issue with it. I do like this pose, and I would love to kind of keep him in this pose, but I am still worried about the plastic, the pleather pieces inside the kneecaps on the suit. So more likely, this may not be a pose I'll keep him in. Didn't have any issues with the figures. I'm enjoying the way this figure poses, especially, not as much with the legs because the limited articulation with the pants and that pleather. But I love the articulation on the upper body and the swords. Everything was easy to swap out. The hands were easy to swap out. One thing to point out is that Darksaber, you do have to pull out a portion of outside of the hilt in order to swap them out. You only get one hilt. At first, I wasn't sure because I had to look at the manual because I was trying to pull it and it was kind of really stuck in it and I didn't want to break anything. But yep, once you get it loose, it's easy to swap out. No problem at all. Love the sculpt on this figure. I'm enjoying this figure a lot. I just kind of wish the wrist pegs were a little bit covered in certain poses, but in this pose right here, you don't see it at all. So I'm enjoying this figure, man. He doesn't come out a lot, but I'm really liking Moff Gideon. So here is a pose that I will feel comfortable keeping him in without those knees being bent and creasing on the pleather and the inside of the pants. And it's pretty stoic, iconic pose that Moff Gideon would be in. The Darksaber out, hands up, like he's ready, like, yo, what you want, what you got? So this figure did exceed my expectations a little bit. I wasn't, there wasn't much going into it that I was expecting to be blown away. I love the way the articulation and upper body is, and the fact that the suit can have him pose very good without having any issues in the long run with the suit. I love the cape. I love the face sculpt. the chest plate's a little plain, but it still sticks out and it still looks good for a Star Wars figure. Just wish the wrist pegs were a little bit more covered, but all in all, man, this is a good figure. I think Hot Toys did an excellent job with this figure. Like I said, I wasn't expecting much going into with the figure, and I was even so close to not even getting this figure. But being as a Hispanic, actor, I had to give the representation to the actor and the fact that he was actually pretty cool in Mando. So I did want to give some representation of having a villain character in my Mando collection. I'm going to get everything Mando, but just certain ones. And this was a piece that I'm definitely happy and super excited to finally have in my collection. And I just can't wait to mess around with some more. Now that cape, you can get away with more. It kind of seems like just like a 2-layer, the red underneath and the black portion, they kind of like separate a little bit. So you could mess around with the cape some more and actually get some pretty good, better poses with the cape. But I'm probably just going to keep it just the way it is right there currently, because I do like the way it's kind of like a mild wind blow to one direction. And he's just basically standing there ready for some action. All I need now is my damn Dark Troopers to come in. Have one, still waiting for the second one. And they're going to look cool behind Moff Gideon. And maybe possibly have him displayed with Luke, possibly in a battle scene type thing going on. But we'll see once Luke comes out and how that piece that comes with the deluxe Luke is, and how would it fit into the display in the collection. But alright, collectors, thank you for coming through and checking out this video. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that like, subscribe button, click that bell notification, and as always, collectors, keep collecting, stay safe, be good, dale.